Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's video has 3 answers to the key question that came in, and you're going to want to stick around for the 3rd answer because it's a secret as to the one thing you don't want to miss when it comes to whether or not to publish with Penguin Publishing. So the question that was sent in today was, is Penguin Publishing worth it? And this is an absolutely fantastic question because when you're first getting started with publishing, you have 2 different ways that you can go. You can decide to publish just simply based upon doing it yourself. You can try to get traditionally published with a major publishing house if you have an agent, and then they will help fix your book, and then you will submit it in, and then you will get rejected and back and forth until maybe perhaps you eventually get accepted. Or you can go for a route where we're hiring a publishing company that will do a lot of the work for you or all of the work for you in order to save you the time from having to learn all of the steps, and then we'll put that book onto the market, whether we call it a vanity publisher or a hybrid where you're self-publishing part of it, doing a little bit of it yourself, but then also using them in order to get the book out onto the market and onto the different platforms that you're going to want to see it put on. Okay, but the problem here is that we don't want to end up in a situation where we're feeling terrible because we've wasted so much money with one or the other publishers. The other fear is we're going to lose the control of our own book, leaving us feeling terrible. And a final one is the sensation of knowing that you put the book on the market, but then it's not selling at all. And so it's just sort of an embarrassment that it's even out there. And these are all of the fears that can be associated when we're trying to go with a publishing house. And that is why we want to explore today, is Penguin Publishing worth it? Well, this is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com. Click the subscribe button if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one. And check out below in the description for my absolutely free self-publishing checklist to make sure you are not missing any of the key steps necessary to win at self-publishing. Not just get your book on the market, but also start generating sales. So that's something you're going to want to check out, and it's absolutely free. So let's get into Penguin Publishing, right? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my own story. When I first got started publishing, I wanted to get a book onto the market, and I was kind of wondering, what options do I have when it comes to getting this book on the market? I had heard about different publishing houses that would do it all for you, where you could just simply send them your manuscript. And they could even help motivate you even do that, I suppose, but you'd at least send them a manuscript, and then they could do the editing, they could do the formatting, they could do the covers, they could put the whole thing together, they could create all sorts of marketing packages for you for thousands and thousands of dollars. You would be able to get your book onto the market. And the idea then would be that you could focus on the writing, and then they would do the rest of it for you. So that was one of the options I was definitely considering and thinking, but what would be the risks? And the thing is that in many of these cases, the company that you would send it to, they would actually own the rights to the book. So the sales would go to them, and then they would give you a small portion of the profits and royalties that would come off of those books. And that was a really big problem for a lot of people because they didn't want somebody else to own the rights. And once they had already gotten paid for all of the books, they were of no interest in talking with you afterwards about fixing your book if there were mistakes in it. Or maybe you wanted to do the marketing for your book, but they're taking such a big share of the sales, and they already charged you so much just to get the book onto the market. And so many of the podcasts and books that I was reading at the time were saying, this is a terrible option. You should completely stay away from one of these companies because you need to own the rights to your books. You don't want to end up in that situation where you're feeling miserable because somebody else owns the rights to all of your hard work that you've spent all of this time doing. And so that was something we wanted to avoid. But then the other one was, for me, I decided not to go that route. Okay, with hiring another company, I decided to do it myself, to figure out the steps that were involved and to try to break them down into something simple. Initially, I felt the overload of exactly what it feels like when you have too many steps and too much stuff going around in your head, and you're never going to get this book published. And that's where most authors are. You write your first book and then you want to get it out onto the market, but you're not able to really hold the focus and learn the skills necessary. And I almost reached that point where I was ready to give up until I discovered that it doesn't have to be so hard to publish your book. And that's one of the reasons I created this very YouTube channel. And I've been very happy with the 185 books I've published since that point. But let's get into the answers regarding Penguin Publishing. Well, the first is Penguin Books USA, which is underneath the Penguin Books that was started in the 1930s. They realized that they were losing a lot of money. Amazon was outmaneuvering them and producing a lot of books on the market from self-publishers. So they jumped into the market and said for $90 to $545, they would help you get your book published. And the difference in prices would be based upon how much help you were going to need to ensure that your book was high enough quality and that you had things done. And if you didn't want to do anything other than writing the book, you could do that. And they would help you get your book onto the market. Now, the thing is that a lot of self-publishers don't realize it's that just because you have Penguin as the publishing house behind the book, that doesn't mean you're going to make extra sales. The average author, the decision that the average reader is doing, they don't care who published the book. They just care that the book is good and high quality, which they're going to use the reviews. They're going to search for this book and use a number of different tricks in order to figure out whether this book is the right book for them. They don't go to the first page and say, oh, I see it was Penguin, or one of the other major publishing houses. They don't really care. Okay, so the fact that it says Penguin, you can think that because you care that your readers are going to care, and they won't. But I would just say that there's nothing wrong with Penguin Publishing. This is a good route to go if you really don't have the time and you're not going to do it yourself. But that's the secret answer of the day, which is you don't need to pay the extra money when you can do everything yourself, and actually it's not very difficult. You follow some of the simple steps that I cover in this channel, how you're going to break it down into the phases of the project. We're going to learn a few small tools, like I use, for example, for formatting. I use a tool called Jutoh, which you can find my affiliate link in the description, in order to ensure the format is perfect and it will work as we distribute the book through all of the different channels that we need to do for the book. Okay, so when we want to make sure we get our maximum number of sales and the book's going to come out high quality, many times better than some of these companies that will try to help you do your book. And so my opinion on this one after 185 books is that you should learn the skills yourself. Then if you find it too much of a pain, you can outsource it to other people or do what I do, which is I use virtual assistants to help me push the books together once I've got the books written or produced so that we can get it onto the market as quickly as possible. Right? So we can start earning money on that book. And we don't want to spend more money than we have to. So the final opinion on my side, it's that you need to learn to do it yourself if you have the time to do it. But if you've got the money and you simply do not want to invest the time, or you don't have the skills necessary to learn these simple computer programs and the order of creating it and going a little bit at a time, then I definitely would say Penguin Publishing is definitely worth considering. So I would recommend Penguin Publishing for anybody who just simply doesn't have the time, or maybe you don't feel you have the skill set, but you can be surprised at what exactly you do have if you just give it a go. So what have you found? Have you tried Penguin Publishing? If you have, write yes below in the comments. If you have not tried them, write no below in the comments. I really want to know if this is something useful to you, and tell me, how does it feel if you have tried Penguin Publishing? I would really love to hear it. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.